Peace world, my name is DJ Enuff, world famous heavy hitters. Here at Hot 97 at WBLS, we are celebrating 50 years of hip hop. And of course, January 20th, we are going to salute and celebrate National DJ Day. Today, I'm here with some of my great friends, one of the most incredible DJ lineups that we have in a long time. And we're going to discuss and talk about hip hop. We're here at the Universal Hip Hop Museum in the Bronx, where it all started. So it's only right we start the conversation and talk now.
I have a flyer here of Grandmaster Flowers of 1973, a party he did. See, this is Friday, May 28th at Hunter College, right? So, but he don't get spoken of until you go into the history of people that really know.
Yeah.
You know, and same thing with P. DJ Jones. You know, they don't get spoken of in the way they're supposed to. This is the first rapper in hip hop. You know, he's the first one that picked up the mic and was yes, y'all, and then doing all that stuff. So, am I right? I don't want to quote the wrong thing. But he was one of the first.
Pretty much on point.
Yeah.
Grandmaster Flowers doesn't get the recognition and the credit that he deserves. I'm gonna say that because I'm from Brooklyn and I watched him play park jams when I was a little kid. Like, he's the first person to let me on a DJ set at a park jam when I was 11 or 12. Grandmaster Flowers opened for James Brown at Yankee Stadium in 1969. Like, he's that deal.
And also heard the clarity of the sound systems were immaculate.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like
You couldn't play park
like
jams.
you,
if you
yeah,
didn't
that's
have
what I'm
a system.
saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you had to come out there correct, man. Plug into the light pole. You know, I remember him doing parties with Breakout a lot. He was hearing stuff like Roy Ayers, Sly and Family Stone, Parliament, James Brown, Four Tops, things like that.
It was soulful. We had soul music. We had records that had meaning. We had records that the words meant something to the people who were listening, because basically music was our real entertainment between the struggles that we were going through as people, black people, I should say.
James Brown had a lot to do with that movement as well.
Yeah.
The way the music was made, Just Begun was out at that time. You know, James Brown had the Clap Your Hands Out. So those two records were like real prominent in the street for the breakdancers around 73. It was starting to become something around that time for the newer era.
My uncle, Hector, who's the first person who ever let me touch a DJ set, he's from Edenwald, and he was cool with her. So later on, when I started DJing, he told me about the stories of how those parties went down. I mean, I'm 9 or 10 learning about those stories, but what we saw and what we experienced, I mean, I could say for mostly everybody here, was based off of what we heard.
What I do know is that the DJs didn't have mixers. They would have two record players, put a headphone in, turn one up, turn the other one down, turn one up, turn the other one down. That's how they play their music.
Shucks, there's like true stories of like what we looked at as clubs, where you would have a guy on one side of the room with one stereo and a guy on the other side of the room with another stereo, and you would have a flashlight that the guy on the who was playing a record, he would tell him, yo, the record's about to end, with a flashlight, so the other guy could play a record coming off of that. And that was in clubs and in loft parties and stuff like that.
And imagine being in that situation where records didn't mesh. It didn't, like now we play records, they're on time, we could come behind each other. They had to wait until one was over. Bring one up, bring one down. So if you were dancing on the dance floor, you had to stop dancing to get back and step to the next one.
Every time.
But back then, that was the shit.
Wow.
And put this part together. Grandmaster Flowers was doing it on 2 turntables with a mixer for real in '69.
How about that?
When I first met Herc, he was a promoter.
Yeah.
That was 1975, 76. He did a lot of parties at Dodge High School. So that's how I remember with about Fordham Road. So I used to go, you know, meet him and go to the parties, be scared to shit. Cause back then Herc was cock diesel back then. You know,
Big ass Herc.
Yeah, he was cock diesel back then. You know, if you was looking a little timid, you wasn't getting in there, but you know.
So what year did him and Coke La Rock get together?
You talking 75, 74?
Africa Bambaata's a master of the records.
Word up.
He had records on records on records on records. He's the reason why guys like me and Kid have the amount of records we have is because of how many records and how many genres and how many places he found breaks or reasons to play records. Like, it was his fault.
This guy would come to the spot with 40 crates. You know what I mean? Shit was crazy.
And Grandmaster Flash was like probably the technical wizard. Him and Grand Wizard Theodore and WizKid and Derek DST.
No, speaking of Theodore, he's the only cat I see drop the needle. Right on bam. You know what I mean? So back then.
B-War was the first one for me. See, I see
You-
Drop the Needle. Rockwell Incorporated.
We
That's
Drop
what,
the
made me,
Needle?
that's what made me become a needle master
We
because
Drop
I
the
used to
Needle?
watch B-War. It was like he was talking to the needles. I used to just go watch these guys. If you see Kev Rockwell,
Yeah.
you know Kev. He was with Rockwell Incorporated. He came a few years later, but he was a part of them. And I used to watch B-War, and it was like he almost kind of like had almost kind of like a vision with the needle. He would just look at it and just grab it. It was right there, and I used to see this, and it amazed me, and that's what I wanted to be that. And I learned how to do that. But B-War was my influence when it came to. He was the first influence for me.
This is why we here now to give them their flowers, man. Because all of us watched them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all took a piece from every one of them. I know I did.
A club back then, how old did you have to be to get in? How much did it cost to get in?
21.
There was no bottle
You
service.
get
It was in the
21,
dance floor, right?
$5,
Like you had to rock. I want people to understand there's a difference between a club back then.
I've been to parties that was $1.
Yeah.
A
They were
dollar again. Go
parties.
watch Rockwell Incorporated. You get it for $1, $2 tops.
That's a fact.
The
T
Connection,
Connection, Disco
Renaissance,
Fever,
Stardust Ballroom.
Stardust
World,
Ballroom, Harlem World.
Randy's Place, 33,
So-
33,
Fever.
Pepper and Salt.
Yeah,
Fever.
Like the Fever, like those
They
are the
going
joints.
back. They going back.
Broadway
back.
International.
Broadway International.
Broadway, Bonds International.
Bonds International.
A kid ran up on me. I was in Harlem shooting something for Nike, and a kid ran up on me. Well, he wasn't a kid, but this grown man. He was like, "I remember when you was in Bonds International." That shit almost made me cry because I was like 15 in Bonds International. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just like, I can't believe it. Like, this person was there who could say, "I remember, Clark." Fuck me up.
Shit was territorial back then too. So you just couldn't go into different areas.
So when you go in the club, you got to stay on your side of the club.
No, I think he's trying to let you know, like, you couldn't naturally be from Brooklyn and go to
Like,
the Fever.
yeah. You couldn't go there unless you
Unless you was connected or you knew somebody.
Connected, you
Unless
checked
they,
in.
They knew you or they
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
You had to
You
have
said it. You said it right.
I'm gonna give you some reality, right?
Shit was territorial.
Like, I'm talking about beyond those days, like way beyond those days. I wouldn't go to the castle without going to the booth first to see Kid. Is that a lie? Am I lying?
Facts.
He wouldn't come downtown to any club I was playing without coming to the booth and coming to see me first, and then it was like, oh, Kid's down here. It's all
Facts.
good. This is my brother.
That's dope.
You know, like
I
that's
like
the
that.
way it was.
I like that.
Like I lived in the northeast part of the Bronx. The breakout was right. So Bambaataa was in the South Bronx and Flash was in Harlem. So if you didn't know nobody, you couldn't really roam around back then.
Yeah, you get robbed.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
In the
get-
club.
Yeah, you get robbed.
Casanovas will tear your ass apart.
Casanovas, Nine
Nine
Crew,
Crew.
all that. Yeah.
If you didn't know nobody, you had a problem.
All right, so as a DJ playing in the club back then, did you have to play the entire night? Or was there opening DJs, closing
Nah,
DJs?
you
Where I come from, there would be 7 DJs, 8 DJs, and 1 MC in a house party.
Even if it was 7 DJs, you ain't hear the same record 7 times.
Yes,
No.
you did.
Yes, you did. Sometimes.
Well,
you did.
sometimes it depends if
did.
you wanted to cut the same thing.
Right.
If I wanted to cut Freedom and he wanted to cut Freedom, Freedom's gonna get cut 2 or 3 times. We're gonna play shit for about 23,
You
30
know why?
minutes.
Because he gonna show you how he cuts freedom
Yeah, you
differently
were
than he
you
does.
trying to blast
Or
off.
Good Times. Like there was certain records that was all the time records. Good Times, because these were cut records. These were records that were Apache. These were cut
yeah.
records. So you wanted to cut those records. Every
Scratches.
DJ wanted to play those records at the
Scratches.
time.
Paradise is very nice. Frisco Disco.
And how was the party
Star
people
Wars.
responding? They just kept dancing, or did they stop
They
and
loved
watch
it.
you?
They loved it.
Did they stop and watch the
You,
DJ?
you have to understand, this thing was an energy that kept growing and growing and growing and growing. But from the essence that it came from was like, oh shit, this is some brand new shit and this belongs to us.
Right.
So the energy was, this is our thing. We're gonna be hyped for it regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So there were DJs who weren't that good and DJs who were way better, but like it didn't matter. When you went to the party, you just were like glad to be hearing the music.
First rap record I know of to be is Pygmy Markham, Here Come the Judge.
Shit, I didn't know that. Till-
Agreed.
Shit's right now.
Yeah, he the total swing. Just about ready to do that thing. I don't want no tears, I don't want no lies. Above all, I don't want no alibi.
And the first raps that were made were from the Jubilaires in the 40s. If you go back to YouTube and you look at the Jubilaires, type in Jubilaires, you see 4 brothers that was up there rhyming and doing this way ahead of time.
Hey, children, stop, steal, and listen to me. God walked down to the brandy sea. He declared that he must send a man, and then he decided to destroy the land. He spoke to Noah. Noah, stop. He said, Noah, I want you to build me an ark.
In record form, you know, James Brown brought the funk. He was the one that, the way he spoke, his ad-libs, the way he talked, how he sang music, he was the one that brought the jobs to everybody as far as music is concerned, as far as funk music is
He
concerned.
was the
but
damn near rapper, right?
pretty much,
without even singing.
but Pygmy put it in rhyme form.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? He put it in rap form. So Pygmy was the first one in 1968 to put a rap record out.
I want to expound on that because that's fair and it's truly very, very fair. I think the answer you're looking for is based off of when the culture of hip hop was called hip hop. So you're speaking from that point. But there were records where people were rhyming on before the culture jumped off.
Right.
And that would be the Pygmy record.
Right.
Because trust me, I knew about that and was like, I heard this before.
But in hip hop
Yeah.
form, my uncle Bill Curtis, the leader of the Fatback Band, he was the first one to
King
put a
Tim
hip hop
III.
record out.
Nice.
King Tim III, Personality Jack. And then Rappers Delight came out, which became the bigger record, which everybody thought that was the first rap record that came
There
out.
it is, right there.
Wasn't.
Now what you hear is not a test, I'm rapping to the beat. And me, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet.
But it
was
was
King
Personality
Tim.
Jack that was the first one that came out on Spring Records. And
Right.
it was Bill Curtis that did that.
Yep.
But you had the foundation. You had James Brown. You had Jimmy Castor, who doesn't really get his right credibility for the hip hop thing. You know, they Sly and the Family Stone and George Clinton. We all followed those guys. To me, that was the foundation of hip hop.
Jimmy
Potential.
Castor was a rapper too.
Boom, boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom, boom.
The party
boom,
was
boom,
jumping.
We used to cut up
Bertha
Eat
Butt Boogie.
Boom,
Man-
boom,
Eat
boom,
Man
boom,
Boogie,
boom, boom,
and
boom.
we had Potential.
Potential. Boom, 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 boom.
But
boom,
Bertha
boom.
Butt Boogie, if you listen to
He was
Bertha
rhyming
Butt
in
Boogie,
it.
he was rhyming. The party
Yeah,
was
true,
jumping when
true.
Bertha got off of a stump. The music was playing and everybody did the bump. Even the whole, listen to Bertha Butt Boogie.
But
his-
74,
but
75.
His biggest record was Just Begun. That was
Right.
the hip hop national anthem. Between that, if you didn't have that and Apache, you was whack.